Okay, we are back. I think we're back, right? I think so. It took a little while to get the internet working, right? But now here we are. Okay, we got our first person coming on back in. As per usual, I'm going to wait just a couple minutes to see if I can get some more in here. It's a little later than we normally do, which I'm not crazy about, but after the day I've had, it's kind of unavoidable. Oh, cool. The yapping dog is at it again. My neighbor's got this new dog, and they just will not get it to stop yapping. I love dogs, just not that one. So sorry about that. Sorry I had to cut the stream short there. I got a very important call from work, and you know it had to have been important because it was about an hour long. Trust me, it was all good news, very good news actually on our front. No, I cannot tell you why I'm not at liberty to discuss, both because I don't want you guys to track down my work and then call them up and say, hey, the Media Mementos guy works here. What's his name? Jerry? Yeah, Jerry works here. And then also because some of it goes against the NDA I signed, so I am not going to be divulging into that anyways. So when it comes to future plans for Media Mementos, I think, at least as far as I can tell, I've gone over the full plan. So if any of you have any questions about things that are going to be coming up in the future on this channel or the other, feel free to let us know if you got those. And providing it doesn't go against anything that Billy and or I want to keep secret, because there are other things that we have that one wants to say and the other doesn't. So we agreed if one of us doesn't want to, we don't say it. So if there's anything you want to know about what's coming up and it doesn't go against that, feel free to ask. So yeah, basically, yeah, thank you. The call did go really well, but again, I can't really go into that. But it was a surprise, actually. I didn't expect my boss to call me when I was doing a stream, especially this late at night, because we normally talk like when I'm on my lunch break. So I wasn't really expecting that. Nice surprise, of course. So again, if you guys have any questions about what's coming up here, I think I've already gone through my script that I had here way too quickly. So if you want to know anything about what's happening in the future on this channel or one of the side channels, now's the time to ask. I always do have to account for the fact that there's like a little bit of a delay here. I think you guys hear me 5 seconds after I talk. So that snap right there, you're going to hear that like 5 seconds in the future. It's a time traveling snap, only possible through YouTube. I'm not really sure how long the delay is again. I only think it's 5 seconds. I don't know what it is. I really wish it wasn't a thing because it's really annoying, especially because I'll ask a question and then I just kind of sitting there waiting for the answers to come in. And I know you guys are answering like, I don't know, 10 seconds after, but it feels a lot longer when there's that kind of pesky delay. When will be the next How I Would Have Made It? Saturday, actually. I won't say what, but if you read some of the what do they call community posts? If you read some of those, you might be able to piece it together on what it is. Wink, wink. I just can't say it right now, so I guess I'm going to send you guys on a little wild goose chase. Only this time, it actually does have hopefully a satisfying ending. All I will say is no, it's not going to be Dr. Seuss. I don't know if we're going to do another Dr. Seuss one. The Lorax was really the only one we feel strongly enough to try to fix. Horton is okay, it just needs a couple scenes cut out here and there. The Grinch with Jim Carrey, I like it as a guilty pleasure. I don't think it's a good movie. I just like the set design, the costume, and admittedly some of the dark humor. But again, I hate it as an adaptation. And then The Cat in the Hat, how would I make it? Simple, don't do it. And there we go. That's that. Green eggs and ham we've already discussed too, and I still can't believe some people thought the Fox and Sox show pitch I did, which was entirely a joke. I can't emphasize that enough. Fox and Sox was a giant joke. But people thought it was a good idea. So I don't know what to make of that. It was actually Dorland Misadventures now, and yes, it is back on track. It's not going to be on the TS Productions channel anymore. We're either going to try to turn it into a graphic novel or just books in general, like for kids. We're kind of discussing right now what direction we're going to take it. We're not really doing the YouTube one because we still haven't found actresses for Elaine and Elena, as well as the fact that it takes a long time to produce these things, especially now that Kyle and my schedules are actually even worse than they used to be. So time-wise, we just don't have the ability to make them as often as we did anymore. And also the name changed because if we are going to take this mainstream, the town of Stannard, which is a secular liberal town in real-life Vermont, would not take too kindly to that. It's already a well-known fact that a lot of medium and small towns don't like it when they're represented in fiction. That's one of the reasons South Park had to change its name. It was originally, it wasn't Fairfield, was it? Was it Fairview? Something like that in Colorado. Hang on, it's gonna kill me now. I need to look up and see what it used to be. Let's see. Park County, Colorado. The real name for South Park is Fairplay. Fairplay, Colorado. So, again, because they couldn't use Fairplay, they'd have to turn it into South Park. And the reason that it is that is Fairplay is in southern Park County, Colorado. So things like that, we can't use the real standard. I'm sure all 200 some people that live there would get up in arms. So now we're changing it to the town of Dorland, Vermont. Dorland is named after my recently deceased grandfather, may he be missed. And, now it's moved from Caledonia County to rural Essex County. The reason we did that is because Essex County is kind of seen as the weirdo county in Vermont sometimes, given the fact that even fewer people live there. They don't believe the same things that the rest of Vermont does. Like, to put it in perspective, that's the one county in Vermont that Donald Trump won. There's also a sizable portion of the county, specifically the gore section. Not gore as in like blood and gore. Gore as in meaning like land. Tracts of land, specifically. Like Avery's Gore or the town of Ferdinand that has 2 people in it. There's a big section in the middle of Essex County where nobody lives there. And I do mean nobody. The closest thing to population is on the outskirts of the Gore region, Ferdinand, which again has 2 people. Then there's all these other things that have 0. There's nobody there. So we think that that's a lot of comedic potential to maybe have the town of Dorland have this arch rivalry with one of the, I guess they're towns, even though nobody lives in them and has ever lived in them. Avery's Gore, where they're trying to compete for who could be the smallest town. And they're just so mad that nobody lives in Avery's Gore, so how are they ever going to win? Things like that. We already did make a Little Shop of Horrors video, actually. It's old. It's old. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked now, Dorland. We've worked really hard on it. I think, as you've seen from the credits, it took years to develop that thing. We're still trying to get out some of the kinks overall. And, when it does come back out in its new form, we're hoping it's going to have a bit more widespread success. Part of another reason we weren't able to keep doing it on TS Productions is no one was watching it. It came back with a little bit of a boom recently, but no one was really tuning in to watch. We weren't getting any feedback. So it was kind of hard to improve when no one was giving it a shot. That's one of the reasons the TS Productions channel's dormant now. We kind of dug the own grave. Okay, no, not we. I did this. I dug its grave by having too much VeggieTales content on there. So all the subscribers that are on there, that's all they really want to see. Once VTA was gone, that was it. There was no VeggieTales content to speak of. And they just kind of stopped watching. Which is okay. I've kind of moved on from that. We were going to bring Live and Reloaded back for a while, but again, the schedules just make it too busy. We already had a great finale. People's outrage at the VeggieTales show, as far as I'm aware of, has kind of died down. And really, we just don't want to go back there. VeggieTales it's great, but it was also a part of our lives back then when we were high school students discovering our creative talents and desires, trying to find our way in what we wanted in life. And that was a good way of testing the waters and finding out what it was that we wanted to strive to do. We're not the same people that made even the newest episodes. We've really changed. So it's kind of the Conquer Bad Fur Day situation again, where if we went back to make it today, I'm not sure it would be what everyone's been hoping and waiting for. It would be probably a little too different for everybody's liking. So we're just going to leave it off at the last episode we have, which is still our favorite. And we think, given the whole message of accepting change and moving on, that it was a good time to leave it. It was a good time to stop. Al Gore is an internet Gore. He invented it after all. He's super serial. Yeah, that's the fate of TAS Productions. So, for those who are wondering, as Elshine here has actually just kind of reminded me, this is another thing I was going to say. The cringe videos that are coming out, where I'm going to be cringing at all the old videos I used to make on TAS Productions. Leo No Arms, Villains License, Quarrel Brothers, which I gotta say real quick, Quarrel Brothers may suck, but it's got some really good concepts. I think that if we revisited it today, maybe as like a one-off, it'd be funny. It just needs a little bit of work. The rest, not so much. So what I'm hoping to do is go back to all my old stuff and really explore it. You see, it kind of, whoops, I kicked my toolbox. That is not good. I've been doing some wall hanging for some stuff that I got here. Like I had my animation cells for the longest time in my new apartment, and I've never hung them up. And I'm just thinking, I don't want these in a box or under my bed anymore. I want them hung up. So I'm kind of in the middle of that. So that's not good. Anyways, one of the reasons we decided to go back and talk about all the old cringy videos I used to make is because, well, it's honestly because of the VeggieTales Abridged video. One of our favorite comments on there was saying, I expected to watch this and it just be another, oh, wow, we made this thing and we loved it at the time, but boo-hoo, it sucks now. And that they actually went on to say, oh, but like, it wasn't that. It was legitimate introspection of thinking about why you made it and how you learned from it. And of course, the rabbits and documenting that whole fiasco. So, for those who haven't really picked up on it, Media Mementos over the last, oh gosh, how long has it been? Has it been 5 months? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Sorry, responding to a message. Okay, anyways. There's been a theme going on Media Mementos for the last 5 months of basically learning and improving. Because that's all we've been doing over the last little bit. I really do think that as every few months that goes on, Media Mementos just does get better. Because we're learning more what people like. We're learning more what makes good videos. And now here we are. 7,000 subscribers and no sign of stopping, hopefully. So we really are going to be doing a lot of critical stuff when it comes to our past. There's a lot of big things coming in the future, even outside of Media Mementos. We're working on a graphic novel. There's a pilot we're going to be working on. Our next April Fool's Day, not the one for this year, but the one for 2023. That's going to be insane. We're already working on it. I'm telling you, there's big things coming. There's also the March Patron raffle, which it's not itself a big video, but it's kind of a more, I guess you could call them introspection or entertainment or edutainment rather, videos that we've been doing, kind of discussing how you can keep learning and growing. A lot of this does delve from our own personal experience and also stemming from a desire to become something better. We have a set goal in mind for who we want to be and what we want to do. So a lot of the videos is kind of pushing us towards that direction by showing us how we used to be very, very not there. There's also a video coming out in April. I really, really hope this one does well. It's going to be called Trevor versus the Drama Department. For those of you who stuck around to see me grow and change over the years, I'm sure you're well aware of this story. Let me tell you, this is one of the worst periods of my entire life and is the origin story of Versus the Network. The reason I care so much about network brass is because I was a victim of that. I felt that. I felt exactly what Weird Al was going through when he was trying to make the Weird Al show on CBS. That was me. I was there. Not on the set. I wasn't. Was I alive? When did Weird Al come out? I don't know. So, what we're going to do is basically make a video detailing that with the how I would have made it visuals. It's going to be kind of an animatic explaining basically the period of time where I was the most miserable. I had my Versus the Network experience, and I became the person who I am now. Back when I made my very first videos, I was a very shy, awkward, timid kid. But this awful experience really did change me. And now, do I sound awkward or timid? I personally don't think so. But, perception's in the eye of the beholder. You can't really assess yourself and think that you're the greatest person ever. That doesn't mean it's true. You got to see what other people have to say. So we're hoping that one does well. Because if it does, then it's a good sign that we need to keep experimenting and doing more stuff like that. If not, well, I mean, I'm not trying to guilt you or anything, but it's just going to be like, well, that sucks. We poured our heart into it, and it didn't really pan out. We have had a fair few videos like that, like the Pac-Man World video. That took a while. ITV Digital infamously bombed, which I'm really happy to say that PG Tips, the sequel to ITV Digital, did surprisingly well for an unknown property. So thank you all very much for that. It's clear that history was not destined to repeat itself, and I couldn't be happier. Or even most recently, Annoying Orange and Titan Weevil. Now, Annoying Orange didn't bomb. It actually did really well. But we thought it was going to do a lot better than it did, especially for being a subscriber special. It actually got dwarfed by Shapian Block, which came out later. I think the next video. And then Titan Weevil was a character quest video that we had been mulling around for a while. And our biggest thing was, how are we going to make this long enough? What are we really going to fill this video with to make it worth everybody's time? And we found it, and no one watched it. So, yeah, we love doing the big videos. We love doing these crazy, out-of-the-norm ones. But we're always worried. The more we put into it, the more we're worried that it's not going to catch on. We love you guys. We really do. But sometimes you're hard to predict. Sometimes it's a little hard to see what you guys want. I'm not talking about in terms of requests. I'm just talking about, in general, what kind of content would you want to see? So we ask a lot of times on the community tab, and we get a lot of mixed results. It's kind of clear that our audience really wants different things depending on the people, which is not bad. It means we got a lot of variety. But it also means that there's a lot of guesswork on our part, so I really appreciate the patience with you guys. But hey, as long as you guys are still cool with the moral oral videos, because those are not going anywhere. Our goal on Media Mementos is to talk about moral oral so much that there's literally nothing else to discuss. You know, the South Park episode Simpsons did it. We're kind of hoping for that with moral oral with Media Mementos did it. Not as like a reviewer dibs thing. We are strictly against reviewer dibs. But we do kind of want to keep pursuing the moral oral angle. There are a few videos out there discussing moral oral, but very few of them go in depth like we do. They mostly just talk about surface stuff. And almost none talk about it to this day. So the market's wide open. I'm so glad I just accidentally stumbled across that show. It was quite the surprise, but I am very happy it happened. Hello, Cave Cat. Good to see you. Yeah, thanks. I don't think I sound awkward or timid. I really did used to be really shy, really insecure. Funny enough, I think it is getting into politics and government partially. It really helped me with public speaking. Another thing is also this drama thing, because, when you're up on stage, you really are speaking to the public, even if you're not talking directly to them, unless you're in a Shakespeare production or something. More often than not, you're performing in front of an audience. Still, though, you could be one thing on stage and one thing off. So, yeah, tune in April when that thing's going to come out. There's going to be a big media blitz all about that. And just a reminder, guys, this isn't like a general Q&A about like my thoughts on media stuff. We'll be doing that again sometime soon. This is just in general questions about the channel and all that. Again, I don't want to like shut you guys out. We're just doing something different this time. Because we tend to do a lot of those, and I don't know, want to do something different, especially after the crazy day I had. By the way, quick moment of silence for Senator Lujan right now, who is in the hospital due to a stroke, and according to the article I read, may have to go into surgery. So, brief moment of silence to make sure that he'll be all right. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, I actually forgot about the Light and Dark interview, and it wasn't done that long ago. But thank you. Yeah, I do pride myself on public speaking. Actually, funny enough, when I'm talking to someone one-on-one, especially when I don't know them, then my awkwardness kind of comes out a little more. But when I'm speaking to a crowd, that's when I actually surprisingly do better. I don't know why. I guess it's just because I love like political speeches and stuff. Some of these actually in my VHS collection over here, which I'm gesturing to now, realizing you can't see it, which is now over 800, by the way. A lot of them are debates and speeches from politicians, and I actually watch these a lot, not just to watch them for fun, but to study them. Whether you like these presidents or not, they have to speak publicly, unless they're in the basement. Just saying. They speak publicly, and if you listen to some of them, even Joe Biden apparently used to stutter a lot and have real bad issues with that. And well, I'm sure we all know President W. Bush had a fair few verbal gaffes because of, I guess, nerves or something. But yeah, that's part of it. Anyways, back to the Light and Dark interview. Yes, Light and Dark is a concept I keep going back to again and again because I want to see it come to life. But there's just so many other ideas I've got now that I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Sometimes I'm kind of thinking of like just giving it to someone else, saying like, "You have my blessing, go ahead with it." But honestly, I don't know because it's my own creation. It's kind of like how I imagine Craig McCracken feels whenever he sees the Powerpuff Girls 2016 on, thinking, that used to be mine. And then Chris Savino already kind of screwed it up enough, and now we got this. Because yes, before Chris Savino made The Loud House and made several women feel, let's just say, uncomfortable, he was the one that made Dexter's Laboratory seasons 3 and 4, and then the later Powerpuff Girls seasons that everyone thought were slow, dull, and just overall not as good. He's the guy responsible. I'm actually not using OBS to live stream. I do have it on my laptop, or at least I don't think I'm using it because I'm live streaming directly from YouTube. OBS isn't even open. So it's just showing this right now. I never like to be on webcam for this, mostly because I I walked like 9 miles before doing this, and my hair is all windblown. It looks terrible. But also, I don't really like to stand in one place or sit in one place when I'm doing these Q&As because there's nothing really much to look at. It's kind of boring. And then I would have put a game up here, but the games always distract me, and I never really get to reading your comments as much as I'd like to. So I kind of did it this way this time. I know it's not ideal to look at, and trust me, when I have a more firm handle on OBS, I'll be able to change what's on here. But for the time being, you're going to have to look at this blue, dark blue, and another blue a lot like the first one, but more sort of navy. By the way, if you get that reference, I love you so much. By the way, also, I just realized up here, because we were talking about TS Productions, I have a Bob Dole sign right here on my dresser. I'm not getting political. I also have a Clinton Gore sign and a, well, I was going to say Perot sign, but this is a Perot sign from the year before. I collect some political memorabilia. I have some from all sides, even if I don't like the candidates. For example, this one I didn't actively buy. For those of you who don't know who George Wallace is, he is a segregationist governor of Alabama who may or may not have been faking his views. For more information, please consult the documentary series on him, George Wallace Set in the Woods on Fire. Highly recommend it. It's a little slow, so unless you're like really interested in Wallace, you might not be interested in be able to follow it all. But trust me, he's one of the most interesting political figures and frauds ever. But anyways, he was a segregationist governor of Alabama who ran as the American Independent, not to be confused with Independent, presidential candidate for, what year was it? 1968. This is the year Richard Nixon won, by the way. So Wallace, like I said, very pro-segregation, very just not a good person. He was just right down to the politician stereotype of being, he's one thing on camera in front of people, but then behind closed doors, he's mean and grumpy. So in college, I think this was week 2, my roommate Matt and his now wife, then girlfriend, they were going antiquing. And then they came back and like, hey, we got you this gift because we know you love politics. So we got you a button, like a presidential button, thinking, oh, that's really cool. And then he gives me the George Wallace one, thinking, okay, this is still cool because this is old and it's in decent condition. I'm like, oh man, thanks. Real quick though, do you know who George Wallace is? He's like, no, I don't. And I told him, and just the look on his face went, oh crap. But I'm really happy actually with that pin. Again, I do not in any way support George Wallace. He is a fraud. He is he's dead now. He was power hungry. But for one, there was a really nice gift of him, so of course I'm going to keep it. It's also quite rare, and it's an interesting piece of political history. Whether you like the candidate or not, every single one, even the weakest ones like George McGovern or Alf Landon, they have some impact. And I always like to study them. But that's not what you're here for. Sorry, when it comes to government stuff, because it's my line of work, I tend to go on rabbit trails. But as discussed in the last stream, my videos will, as much as possible, not get political. The most political we're ever going to get is by saying, wow, this commercial has blackface in it. That's not cool. Because I think most of us can just objectively agree that isn't cool. Yeah, because we don't want to be like Animat, where we alienate half our audience because we keep saying stuff about another country we don't even live in. That's right, I'm going after Animat. Come at me, Animat. Just kidding. I don't want an actual feud between us. If he and I did talk, I'd honestly just say, I disagree with the way you do it, but that's your channel. You do you. It's a shame, too. I know I'm repeating myself from last time, but he has some really interesting videos. My favorite of his is the one where he talks about the Legends of Oz, that really bad Wizard of Oz CG film, and talking about how it was basically funded through, I guess it was a pyramid scheme. I don't know if that's the exact terminology to use to do whatever that was, but it wasn't funded in a good way, let's just say. I really think he's got some interesting videos. It's just when he runs his mouth about Trump or Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or whatever. And again, he's Canadian, so shouldn't he be talking about Trudeau or the Bloc Québécois or something? Especially because he lives in Quebec. So I don't know. It's just it turns me off so much. And again, whether you agree with him or not, you don't come to him for political advice or political discussion or anything like that. You come to him to hear him talk about how bad food fight is. Yeah, a lot of people. Oh yeah, the Jesse Ventura video. That is, I guess, also the most political we'd get. Well, for one, no one watched it, but two, yeah. But I think at least I did a good job of being as bipartisan as possible. I don't think any of my political beliefs showed in the Jesse Ventura video. But yes, I do kind of like that there is a sort of rivalry ish between us and Shea Phyllis. Shea Phyllis, I'm sure, has absolutely no idea who we are. But if he ever did figure it out, I'd kind of like to play up the rivalry, not like as a way to, not as a way to like attack him, but kind of like what the AVGN and the guy that helped Justin Carmichael get away with it, also known as Doug Walker, did, where like they very clearly are just joking around and are just fueling the fire, and basically they pretend to hate each other for the sake of having a good time and for promotion. If we ever were to like do something like that, that would be amazing. Of course, that's not really a goal of ours. It's just saying if we ever get big enough to be able to even connect with them, that would be awesome. Hello, Azarius. Yes, animation look back is another one that, again, he's got good ideas. I legitimately liked the one he made about the Down Bluth movies that didn't turn out so well. Of course, I will absolutely fight him on Rockadoodle. Rockadoodle is great, and you cannot change my mind ever, ever, ever. It is better than Anastasia. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know. I don't follow Animat, so does he still do that? I don't know. I don't know if he still does. It's a shame too, because honestly, I really did like him back in the day. It's just that he wouldn't stop with the political stuff, so I just gave up. And you know it's bad when someone who works in that field and loves it so much that he's basically got a book signed by Jimmy Carter next to a book signed by George W. on his bookshelf right here. And like you could tell, I work in this, I love it, and even I'm sick of it when he talks about it. It is bad. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you were able to introduce someone to oral. Yeah, everyone. What am I saying? Everyone always gets disturbed by season 3. I most certainly did too. But then therein lies, where do you go from there? Do they want to keep pursuing it? Because I most certainly did. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I'm going to discuss it sometime in a video describing how, well, let's be real. It's going to be the moral oral origin story, how this all came to be. But the first episode I ever watched was Help. You know, the one where Oral says to Blaberta, well, why did you marry Dad? And it flashbacks to when she first met Clay. I knew a little bit about the show, so I kind of knew that Clay was evil. I didn't know Blaberta was evil yet, but I do remember when I was watching it and she first lays eyes on Clay during that Here Comes the Bride song. I just kind of muttered to myself, run away! Because I knew that it wasn't going to end well. It's going to be very, very bad. And of course, I expected it to be, you know, oh, they love each other at first and then they have a falling out. No, they never did. I thought that it was actually pretty intriguing that the couple never really was in love. Liberta was just infatuated by Clay, and then Clay was like, "Hey, you're useful, I guess. Well, now I'm pressured into this, and now I can get out of it." And then, of course, I watched Alone a few episodes later, and I had to just take a break from that. That messed me up. in a good way, of course. I really do think that is the best moral oral episode. So yeah, that's more moral oral stuff. We're never gonna stop unless we absolutely run out of stuff to talk about. How I would like to finish it is to actually get Dino on an interview and talk about the show with him. I think that'd be the best way to close it out. I don't know about you guys. Oh yeah, of course. Kyle and I talk a lot actually every few days. He's still doing really well. We're lifelong friends, so we're never gonna lose touch. I've known him since I think since the month he was born. That's how far we go back. So yeah, we're never gonna lose touch. It's just that we're so busy doing our own things now. It's kind of hard to collaborate like we used to, and we live in different states. He's At least our states are close, so there is that. They border each other, even though his state is more north than mine, so it'd take a little bit more to get there. It's doable. It's most certainly doable. It just isn't the easiest thing. So that's why we do a lot of stuff over phone. That's part of the reason the Line Reloaded thing didn't really pan out, but we more discussed that in the earlier part of the stream, and I don't really want to repeat it all. All dogs go to heaven. I haven't seen that in forever. So this is actually funny enough, the way I got introduced to it. I was at my grandparents' farmhouse, and they only had a couple VHS movies for me and my cousins to watch, and they put on what they thought was All Dogs Go to Heaven. Turns out they didn't have them in the right boxes, so it played Jungle to Jungle starring Tim Allen, and they just would refuse to admit, no, this isn't the wrong movie. No, it's the right one. But then when it gets to the Jungle Boy part, they kind of realize, okay, maybe we did put in the wrong one. And I, for years, never saw the real All Dogs Go to Heaven, and I was honestly more interested in what was that Jungle movie called. Then, of course, I watched Jungle to Jungle years later, and well, yes, it sucks. No disrespect if you like it, I just couldn't get into it. Alrighty, so my throat's getting kind of rough here because I've had to do a lot of talking today. So I think I'm just going to open it up to the last couple questions here in the next 60 seconds about the future of any of the channels here or anything like that. So if you got any questions, get ready to fire the load. And yes, I know how that sounds. It's a Drawn Together reference. Again, if you get that reference, you are amazing and I love you very much. See what we got here. I probably should have had a water bottle. I always do. And this is the one time I forget. The same day I walk 9 miles in one day. The same day I have an hour plus phone call with my boss. And also the same day I do a live stream. I'm normally a better planner than this. Oh, what's this? Oh, by the way, Billy has just reached 1,000 subscribers, or followers, I guess, on his Instagram. So, well done, Billy. Okay, so that I'd say is the threshold. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, we're not doing the Live and Reloaded revival. We might eventually sometime down the road, but as we kind of discussed earlier, we're not the same people we were when we made it back then. We're busy and we got other things we're working on, so it's kind of getting harder to make stuff like that. And we're just generally, at least for me, like I'm just not I'm not a VeggieTales YouTuber anymore. That's kind of in the past. Like even when I was talking to Kyle about it, we kind of thought, yeah, like we'd do it on occasion, but for the most part, we've kind of moved on. And that's kind of the general feeling I've had ever since trying to get Shush, Born the Great Divide up and at 'em, is we already had a great last episode. Let's kind of leave it here. Yeah, I can tell it is starting to get a little scratchy. I'm starting to sound like the dad from the middle. All right. Sorry, we only take requests from Patreon Raffle uh, winners. It only takes $2 a month to enter the raffle. So, anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, okay, one more. Botch Mojo, we are not going to be doing any more of those because no one really watches them, and we kind of feel like every time we make a Botch Mojo video, it's just kind of the same. Eventually, if we did too many of them, we'd become the very thing we're mocking. Watch Mojo. We don't want that. So, yeah, that's kind of the fate of Botch Mojo. I'm sorry if you guys are disappointed by that. It's what we got to do. Alrighty, so if you guys want to join our Discord, the links are available, and I think every new video we have now, it's been in at least the last 5. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.